This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa. Using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa. For all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. Henshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. You need a trailer? They've got your trailer, and they can fix what they sell and don't in their full-time repair shop. Gerling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs, and they even have a conference room you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
It's a wonderful 64 degrees on this Wednesday evening, March 12, 2025, and the Henry County, Iowa Planning and Zoning Commission is going to have a work session starting at 6 o'clock this evening for the Alternative Energy Overlay Amendment, and it's all taking place right here at the Henry County Courthouse in Mount Pleasant, Iowa on the second floor. And before we get to that, I want to thank my announcer, Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for that wonderful introduction and his golden pipes. Now let's get to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Work session.
There you go. That's how my grandfather is.
Okay, here we go. We're late. Call our meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda that we have?
I will second.
Okay. Approve the minutes from the last section.
Are we approving just these minutes here? Or are we approving all of
The
this?
minutes.
Just the minutes? Okay. I will motion that we approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I guess we'll go on to the work session. Joe has given us some changes that were made at the last, or the January.
Right, the addition of the CRP and this setback.
And there's just one or two other sections, right, that we need to, you know,
I think everything in here has been talked about, and I think there are additional things that they wanted to talk about last time. It's a work session, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
okay. So, one of the things, do you have anything specific tonight?
Are we going to propose the Watchmen thing first?
Well,
I
we
have
have-
things I wanted.
Yeah, you have
we
things you
consider
want.
that I have things I wanted to add to the issue.
right,
You want to hear those now?
yeah. Because I think that was one of the things in the minutes that
Oh,
said
was
we
it?
wanted to review and discuss, but I know they've either added or they've made it clearer or something. Well, excuse me, first of all, thank you for all the work you've done I noticed you said you had highlighted or colored things, but you didn't say what different colors were.
The two documents that we gave you was the revisions and then the sections of the ordinance that they apply to. So the color coding from the recommendations corresponds to the ordinance.
Okay, but they are,
We didn't, the only thing that was changed was the adding of the CSR from the one you had before.
okay, but the colors.
The colors, that way you can find, like we were recommending that definitions be
Okay,
added.
Your recommendations are in the
Yep.
purple or pink.
Well,
Or
there
all.
was two documents. There was one that says recommendations, and then there was one that was clipped together that we broke
Right.
out the sections of the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the pink in the recommendations corresponds to the pink in the ordinance. So you can see where our recommendations are in the
In the
ordinance.
ordinance, but
Yeah.
what's the green then?
It's the same. It's each section we used a different color. That way you could look like in the recommendations. There's green, then you find that
Right.
part in the
And then the green and the yellow?
yes. Yep. So that corresponds
So
to
those
the
are all
two.
That's what you were recommending.
Right, and it's not any
a-
different than the one we gave you
Right.
before, except for the CSR portion. But that way it was easier. It
So
was
it-
asked if we could do it that way so that you could see where the revision was in the
Thank you.
document, in the ordinance document.
I wanted to clarify
Yeah,
that.
does
So-
that make sense?
So, yeah,
Okay.
so, but nothing in here shows the changes that this group has made.
Correct.
I mean, in color,
Correct. Yeah,
The color is all yours.
right.
Okay, I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
that's
Laura.
fine.
Go ahead, Kim.
I would like to have a statement that says if this goes to litigation, that the venue is Henry County Courts, or obviously if it went up, it would have to be Polk County probably, but, I have a real concern that we end up in a lawsuit that ends up in Texas. Okay, we don't want that, it's too much expense on the county. And
We wouldn't end up out of the state of Iowa.
we wouldn't, even though they are.
Right. They're challenging an Iowa law. A Texas court is not gonna rule on an Iowa law.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Okay. It's just most contracts I've read, I always had a venue designation so that it didn't get pulled out of my area, so, or if you're sure.
And I will ask Steve,
Yeah.
if he thinks there's something that would
That
be beneficial
possibility.
to us, I'll have him put some language together, because that kind of thing is
I think, I see no reason why we can't go ahead and do that and put it in our recommendation.
And then I think we've had too much time between meetings because it gave me time to think about other things. And I'm thinking about the bond escrow issue. That money should be used, how do I say this? Okay. If I'm a farmer that has signed a contract and it blows up, got destruction. That money, the farmer should be protecting themselves, or the landowner should be, that should not be a county responsibility. Now, I still think we need coverage because there's gonna be unsigned adjacent owners that could have damage, and that protects them maybe. But it's like, you can't get insurance if you don't have a vested interest. And I'm not sure it's our place to protect a landowner who signs a contract. Isn't that their responsibility to make sure they are protected and covered in that contract? And then our exposure would be people adjacent or county road or whatever, but, do you see what I'm saying?
Isn't it the company that has to provide the bond?
Yes, I mean, that's for discontinuation. If they were just tactically leave and not leave money behind, there'd be a bond there to dismantle.
And, or if there was damage, isn't that part of the bond?
It's not written in
It's
there.
not recommended
But,
at all.
but they're the ones that supply the bond that falls on them.
But my point is, if I'm going to sign a contract with somebody, I should make sure my risks are covered. Is that not the landowner's responsibility? If they vacate and he's got this big chunk of cement he wants removed, why is that not his responsibility to make sure he was covered for that risk in his contract, whether it be a bond between them and escrow between them or whatever, that our exposure, I think, should be adjacent people that don't have a contract, basically, they just are survivors of the incident. But, like I said, you gave me too much time to think. You see what I'm saying?
But I think it would be once again, the company's responsibility if they damage other people's property even.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're saying is that it should be the property owner's responsibility to make sure the company covers them.
Right, correct, and then if there's any
And-
fallout from around it and they don't make that good, that then the bond or escrow would cover
The
expenses
company's,
there.
company's bond would cover that.
Yeah, it would cover
Well, I think-
their lack of holding up their part of it. But I'm not sure that
So,
the county should.
I mean, are you kind of the Mechanicsville issue where they caught on fire and
No, I wasn't thinking of a specific
Oh,
issue. I
okay.
was just thinking of it like insurance.
yeah,
I can't go buy an insurance policy on Jim's truck because it's not my truck and I don't have an interest in it. Now, I can buy a liability that covers me in case I hit Jim's truck, you know what I'm saying? But I don't,
Could we ask the Henry County Watchmen if that is addressed in their thing?
So that is why we broke out different escrow accounts. So in the first section of the ordinance, it says acts of God and man-made disasters and mechanical failures. It says it's responsibility of the owner, which is the owner of the turbine, so that would be the company. And it spells out, that in there so that it's holding the owner of the turbine responsible. We didn't write it in here so that it covers damages to the property, like the farm ground, because that is the owner of the property's responsibility. And then Joe's right, the decommissioning, then it has a separate escrow account for that. So if you break the escrow accounts up, then it covers different things that could potentially happen. But if you don't have it written in there what the amounts are or what it covers, then you could potentially not be covered, or it's up to the company what bond or escrow they wanna do. So that's why if you have it, does that make sense? It's in blue on, it's a few pages in.
And it's the company's responsibility to put up the premium for the bond or the money for the escrow.
Right. And
It
the
is not
difference,
the county is,
no,
okay.
but the county can say what they have to do as a bond or an escrow, which is the point, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So, does that help her? I mean, and you can change whatever you want them to be responsible for. That's why we broke it out separately, so it's not just, and then there's parts in there that talks about drainage and road use. So that if there is damage to county property, like the road or whatever, then
and
it
that one
covers.
is, yeah, I'm totally
Yeah,
for, but I'm just saying, I don't know that we need to be.
yeah. And then it also, we wrote in there about having a third party identify what has happened. So that it takes it off of the county or the company.
But that is not in the, we have done yet.
No.
That's not in
No, it's not in this part that Joe just gave us. That would be in the Henry County Watchmen.
That was basically like,
It
Dreaming.
sounded like,
Dreaming about my
I
life.
thought maybe you had a couple more things. so-
nope, not yet, but the night's early.
Any comments?
I don't have any other comments on that one. I'm ready to make a motion for my part.
No, I thought we had one or two other areas that we had not clarified yet.
We do, but my motion is gonna be that. My motion is that we make planning and zoning's recommendation that we send this on to the board of supervisors as the Henry County Watchman wrote it and recommended. That covers all the other points that we had to address.
I made some motion. Is there a second, and then we discuss?
Is that what you have there, is that what you're recommending?
Yes. Yep. This is the
Slide down to this one, make sure we're on the same page.
This is the Henry County Watchman's.
It's the same document you have posted on the website, Joe.
And
Is this one with the color, is it the same as the original, or if this has been changed?
I believe it's the same as, I think it's the second set of documents you have posted on the website.
Okay,
It was from before the February meeting.
all right.
Yep.
I didn't know if maybe there was, one or two small sections or anything that you were concerned about maybe not having that.
I got it.
I am not, other than that, I think we could add that, we can put it in writing that it is, we recommend that any court proceedings must originate in Henry County.
Adding it to the Watchmen's.
Yes.
Could we phrase it in a way that it's per whatever Steve thinks is appropriate? Have him draft the language.
The attorney.
Will the supervisors meet with Steve? I'm just wondering if he could take it out then, you know what I'm saying? Cause they can,
Yeah, if you wanna do it that way too, and then
they
they
can
can
cut out
take it
the
out.
pieces they don't
Yeah,
like
that would-
anyway.
That works too.
So
Yeah, just wanted to clarify that.
at least they would know that was our full package. And
Okay.
then if Steve wanted to say, hey guys, you should take that out, he could tell the supervisors, right?
I was talking about just the specific language.
Oh,
He's gonna be, there's gonna be some specific legal
Attorney
language.
should
As far as being, or originating in Henry County.
Right, yeah, leave that up to that specific language,
Okay.
up to
Right.
Steve.
right.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at, yeah.
Have we had a second before we can discuss?
I will second
Okay.
Jim's motion.
Then now we can discuss before we vote. I thought just something there, I'm sorry. Is this appropriate for in the zoning chapter,
Yeah, the way it's,
or is it?
I think it,
I
that,
mean,
the
or
way
should-
that, the
or
way
does
that
it
one,
need to be a different?
no, that, the way that one's laid out is, it's an amendment to the current zoning
Okay,
ordinance. So, yeah.
okay.
And, you know, to be clear, we're just pushing this on to the public hearing, which of course you can further discuss. So this isn't the final word in any sense of it. If you wanna push, if you wanna move this on, then we'll set a public hearing and then we'll have another,
And full discussion. of-
another opportunity to discuss this again.
Okay.
Would we have Steve's recommendation for the language by
I would
then?
think so, yeah.
By then, okay.
Right, I would think so.
Okay. And are we ready to vote on that motion?
I have no further discussion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
calendar, the only other piece of business is to, you know,
Set a date.
if you're ready to go to public hearing, set a date for public hearing.
How many days public notice do you have to have for
You have to have
that?
at least 4 and no more than 20. The earliest,
You need to give the attorney a little bit of.
yeah, the attorney's gonna need some time to look at it. Let me look at the calendar here, see where we're at.
For a month.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, but it's only with that addition in.
Okay, that's, one of her draft.
Yeah.
The 26th is the absolute earliest we can do it. And that doesn't give Steve a lot of time to look at it, but before it goes, to the newspaper, but that, you know, the
Oh.
publications, that's the earliest we can get them into the paper and so on.
You need a new calendar.
Oh, geez, that is 24, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, I wondered why, why it wasn't coming up
Then
right.
you can look at the top there, let me throw you on the calendar out here,
It's with-
make sure we're on the same page.
I guess my life isn't passing by as fast as I thought it was.
So it'd be 25th, so basically.
Oh, a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's published on Thursday, 1, 2, 3, 4, I get, to be safe, I'd go on the 25th.
27th.
25th. That's the earliest you can do it, of course. You've got another 16 days after that, 15 days, so anytime in that,
We have to have 3 public hearings.
no, you have one.
Just one.
You have one public hearing, then the supervisors
That
will have
they
a
have,
public
okay.
hearing, and then they will have 3 readings
Three
after the
readings.
public hearing.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't remember what night, but,
It's a win. 20. You
I
see
know,
that?
but
25th is a
didn't Oliver
Tuesday.
say he had things like every Tuesday or every,
It was basketball, that should be
that be
over.
over?
It should be, I don't know,
Yeah, are the tournaments over?
well, the boys tournament's this week in the morning.
And the girls
Yeah,
have
it's
had.
going
Girls was last week, so I don't know what is,
Yeah, and I don't have a schedule that far in the future.
So either Tuesday or Wednesday. You would like the Tuesday.
the 25th.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference to me, either one of those. The Wednesday seemed to have worked out for us on a lot of our meetings, if we want to do the
Of course,
Wednesday,
that's
that's fine.
church night for a lot of.
Yeah.
I would prefer Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay.
25th.
Is my preference.
Twenty-fifth.
Anything that day.
So that's for work session.
Public hearing.
Is that okay, or it is the
It'll
public
be a
hearing?
public hearing,
Gotta get this written down.
basically.
6
All
o'clock
you have
again.
to do is the same
Yeah.
thing we did right now.
Unless we want
That's
we have-
And the only caveat I have to that is venue. If for some reason we can't get a big enough room, we might have to move it around a bit, but I will talk to the clerk tomorrow and make sure we've got room on that
And
day.
that would be at 6.
That's it, yes.
Okay.
We make a motion on that.
Nope. Made a motion and seconded
Or do we need to have a
I think,
motion?
I think we may as well just.
I'll make a motion to have our public hearing Tuesday, the 25th.
Is
March.
there a second?
Yes, I'll say.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I don't know whether we, since this was a work session, whether we need to open it up for comments, but
At this point, you guys have made your decision tonight. There'll be opportunities to speak on it at the public hearing.
Right.
Unless you want to stay here longer and make get out his flashlight.
Carl, let's go see the babies.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw you have 2 of them today.
I didn't expect them.
is there other business?
I have nothing else.
Nothing else?
74.
I would take a motion to adjourn.
All 3 of us to adjourn. Well, 2
Is
of
there
us really. and then
Motion
myself.
to adjourn.
Sorry. I'll move.
That was the second. We have a
I'll
motion.
second.
I'm sorry.
I'll have myself.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Well, as you saw on this episode, the Henry County, Iowa Planning and Zoning Commission have moved forward with the Henry County Watchmen recommendations on the alternative overlay zoning, alternative energy overlay zoning, and now it'll go before the Board of Supervisors. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my sponsors, Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Hinshaw Trailer Cells, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops, the Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. And if you like what we do here and what I do here, give this episode a like and make sure to follow and subscribe. It's free. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.